Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. In this live stream we're going to talk about what I'm going to be doing this week on vacation when it comes to diet, intermittent fasting, when it comes to my workout plan. If you followed my last live stream, I talked about how I prepared for this week before I'm going on vacation. Sharon, thanks for showing up. Also, the sound and the production quality might not be as great for this video. I'm actually right outside my hotel room. I'm using a different camera. If you notice, I have this mic on. So just give me a thumbs up if you think the sound, everything's good. Any issues, just let me know. And also, when you leave a comment and when you ask your questions, let me know where you're from. I love to see where everyone's from. I got a big following in Ireland, the UK, obviously, New York, and the US. Okay, so let's go over what I've been doing this week on vacation. I'm a big believer in taking diet breaks and taking a break for vacation. But I just also want to review actually what I did last week in preparation for this week. See, my goals for last week were I wanted to lose, 2 or 3 pounds before I go on vacation, right? I wanted to increase my workout intensity in the gym, to maybe put in a little bit more muscle right before I go on vacation. Oh, thanks, Sharon. This sounds good. I really appreciate it. I also wanted to get into a state of ketosis, really deplete my glycogen in stores of my muscle and my liver. So when I go on vacation this week, I can take a cheat. I can have a cheat week. I can eat the foods I want to eat. I know I'm going to gain a few pounds, so I just wanted to start the week in the right frame of mind and just not being concerned about having a whole cheat week. And let me talk about the success of last week. Last week went pretty well. What I did is that I fasted for 20 hours every single day. I took in all my meals within a 4-hour eating window, and I generally ate I did too mad. I pretty much ate 2 meals a day. I had one small meal, one large meal. If you want to look at the live stream last week, I explained the whole thing. And I also did all my exercising, all my training in a fasted state. Typically, I only do my cardio fasted, but last week I even did my resistance training fasted. And I definitely got into a state of ketosis. I felt it by the end of the week, meaning that I was flat in the gym. Like when I worked out on Friday and tried to pump myself up, my muscle was so low on glycogen, I couldn't get a good pump. So I knew I was in ketosis. Like years ago, I would maybe do the blood strips. I would test to see if beta hydroxybutyrate, one of the ketone bodies, was high. But I knew I was there because I'd just been doing this so long, and I know my body. I know I was in a state of ketosis. So it was perfect to start the week this week. And I only lost 2 pounds last week. And I explained to why I only lost 2 pounds. See, since I typically always eat a relatively low-carb diet, my glycogen levels in my muscles, weren't already full. They were probably half full. And I always talk about this before. Like when you eat a big meal, when you eat carbohydrates, all those excess carbs are stored away in your muscle and your liver in the form of glycogen. Depending on how big you are, is how much you can store. See, I can store about 2,500 calories in my muscles in the form of glycogen, and there's a 4-to-1 ratio of water retention. So if you can store 2,500 calories, that's about 2-3 pounds of water weight. So I pretty much depleted my glycogen stores last week. And I lost about 2-3 pounds, probably burnt a little bit of body fat as well. Okay, so let's talk about what I'm doing this week. Okay, now this week I'm taking a diet break for sure. I'm a big believer in taking diet breaks, and if you follow me, I talk about metabolic adaptation all the time. Metabolic adaptation means that when you lose weight, your metabolism always slows down to some degree. It's normal, it's somewhat of a protective mechanism. Just think you whittle away to nothing if you keep on reducing calories and your metabolism doesn't adjust. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Good to have you here. I appreciate it. So I like to take diet breaks where I up my calories to boost my metabolism. That's the key, I think, to long-term weight loss is cycling calories. That's why bodybuilders and physique athletes always do so well when it comes to counting calories, because they restrict calories and then they up their calories. I always talk about Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the famous, the muscle man actor. He's always putting his cheat days online, and it's unbelievable. He talks about how important they are. You really have to up your calories because when you eat more, the thermic effect of food, for example, protein has the highest thermic effect. When you eat 100 calories of protein, you're going to burn up 25-30 calories just digesting and processing the protein. So I really like to cycle my calories, and I like to do it in 2 different ways. Either I like to do it intermittently, meaning that maybe I'll restrict calories like I did last week. Say I'll do a 20-hour fast 2-3 days a week, and then I like to up my calories on alternate days, and that will be a great way of cycling your calories. So you burn body fat on the days you're restricting calories, but then you up your metabolism by eating more on other days. So you can do it intermittently. I always use the term putting intermittent back into intermittent fasting. Or you can restrict calories for a number of weeks, say 4 or 5 weeks, and then take a diet break and up your calories for a week or two. And there's a lot of research that says that that's really effective for long-term weight loss. For example, people who restrict calories for 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, compared to a group who also restricted calories, but then one group took a diet break and upped the calories to maintenance for 2 weeks, 6 months down the road, kept the weight off and actually did better. And not every study says that, but there are a number of studies that do. And I know it works. I've been doing it for decades with myself and with clients. Taking diet breaks and cycling calories is so important. And I think a vacation is the ideal time to take a diet break because you want to enjoy yourself. So that's what I'm doing this week. So let me go through my whole plan this week. Because when it comes to diet, this is pretty much what I'm doing. Since me and my wife have been intermittent fasting for like 10, 12 years, it's hard for me just to give up at least a 16-8 fast. And I'm still sticking to that. So I've been generally waking up in the morning. I have a couple cups of coffee. I drink a lot of water. I'm drinking some Polar seltzer water. I'm going to drink a lot. I drink half my weight in ounces of water every single day. And then I'm going to break my fast around 12 o'clock, and I'm going to have like some of my favorite cheat foods. I'm going to actually probably bring a sandwich to the beach. I may have some turkey on a big French baguette, which I typically wouldn't eat. I typically don't really eat too many grains. I'm generally a low-carb eater, whole natural food eater, but I'm going to be eating some processed foods this week. I'm going to be upping my calories to at least maintenance. I may have a sandwich at the beach, like I said, with some turkey, maybe some hot super sour, which I love. I may even have some pretzels. I'm going to have some nuts on the beach. I may drink a beer or two on the beach. That's why in my thumbnail I put some beers. I'll probably be drinking some beer this week. I'm already 2 days into the trip, so I've been having a couple of beers every single day. Then we'll be going out to dinner. We had Italian food, one night this week, which obviously I'm eating some pasta. I had chicken parm, which I generally would never eat. So I'm definitely upping my calories to maintenance or more. And it's actually going to give my metabolism a little boost. Plus, psychologically, it's nice to take a break. I always also talk about trigger foods. There are certain foods that people, once they eat them, actually triggers them into like they just can't stop eating them. For me, it's like potatoes. Even for me, it's like Italian food. I love chicken parm. I have chicken parm once and a little bit of pasta. I want it every single night. So I really have eliminated trigger foods from my diet. But on vacation, I allow myself to have the trigger foods. But I know that when I come back from vacation, at the end of this week, I'm going to go right back to my normal diet routine and workout routine. I'm going to do a live video stream next week about that, how I adjusted back into my normal schedule. We got a couple of people in the room. Hey, good morning. Hey guys, gals. It's great to have you here. I really appreciate it. Any questions, just ask them. We got someone from Texas. Oh, cool. I love Texas. I love barbecue, too. Actually, there's a great barbecue place out here. I'm in Sag Harbor in the Hamptons. There's a great barbecue place. We're definitely doing that this week. I haven't had barbecue in a while, and I'm looking forward to a cheap meal. With some barbecue for sure. So that's pretty much my diet plan. And I want to talk about how I compared it. Michigan, oh cool, I love Michigan. That's great. One of my best friend's sons goes to Michigan College. I mean, great football team, all that. I also want to compare why I think I'm going to gain 5 pounds or 6 pounds this week. It's going to be mostly water weight compared to last week when I really restricted calories and got into ketosis. And it has to do a little bit with carbohydrate loading. Okay, see, last week when I restricted my carbohydrates and I really tightened up my diet, I only lost about 2 pounds. And the reason is that I already was, my glycogen levels in my muscles weren't already full. They were probably half full. And the fact that I'm insulin sensitive, meaning that I've been eating a low-carb diet, I'm pretty much fat adapted, I have the metabolic flexibility that when I do eat carbohydrates, my pancreas is going to, hey, Brent's here too. Oh, cool. Paul, from the UK. Excellent. This is great. Some of my regular guys and gals are here. This is wonderful. So I have that, metabolic flexibility. I'm really insulin sensitive. So when I do overeat, say I had Italian food, like I said, I am having some bread with a sandwich, my pancreas produces insulin, but my body is really good at storing away those excess carbohydrates in my muscles where they should be, meaning that I can lower blood sugar really, really well. So what's going to happen to me, since I'm so insulin sensitive, is that when I overeat, my muscles can actually store more glycogen than the typical person who isn't, meaning that instead of me only storing maybe 2,500 calories of glycogen, I can maybe store 4,000 calories because I have that flexibility. So that means, and there's always a 4-to-1 ratio of water retention to glycogen storage. So I'm going to gain 5-6 pounds this week, and it's mostly going to be water weight. Maybe I'm going to gain a pound or so of body fat. Where someone else may run into trouble if you're insulin resistant and you have a binge week like I'm having this week. You're going to wind up with elevated blood sugar, right? You're going to have a hard time storing away those excess calories. Your triglycerides are going to go up. Like your liver going to stop producing triglycerides out of these excess carbs. Your body fat levels are going to go up. You're going to increase your visceral fat, that bad fat, that organ fat, right? And it's also, I always also like to correlate this to athletes. You know how endurance athletes years ago was really popular? They would carbohydrate load before a race, but even before a marathon. They would eat a big bowl of pasta the night before. They eat a bunch of rice. They carb up. But it turned out the reason why they stopped doing that is because they gained so much water weight overnight because they were more like me. They had that insulin sensitivity. They had that metabolic flexibility. They would be 4 or 5 pounds heavier, for the race, and that slowed them down. So I said it makes no sense to carbohydrate load. They're better off taking in carbohydrates and eating food during the race. And that's kind of what I'm doing this week. I'm kind of carbohydrate loading this week, boosting my metabolism a little bit. I mean, I'm going to eat a lot of protein too, but I know that when I gain 5-6 pounds, it's going to be mostly water weight. So next week, and I'll do a whole video about it, I'm going to be depleting my, how much carbs I'm eating again. Go back to about 50 net gram carbs a day, and I'm going to lose tons of water weight. I'll be 5-6 pounds lighter in 2 or 3 days. So that's pretty much my diet, for this week. Let's see. Sensitive. I've been on keto for 4 months. Oh, that's doing great. Yeah, keto, you're incredibly insulin sensitive. So just think if you had like a high carb day or two, you're going to be similar to me. You may gain 4 or 5 pounds. That's why you shouldn't get upset if you do have a cheat day and you gain 4 or 5 pounds. Because just think, 3,500 calories to a pound, right? You know how much food you would have to eat to gain 5 pounds? Like an extra 10, 11,000 calories. Just think about it. It's almost impossible. It has to be water weight. I got a couple of videos on the YouTube channel talking about that too, where people get so upset when they gain 4 or 5 pounds overnight, and I explain why. And it's similar to what I explained now. It's really just water weight from filling up your muscles with glycogen. Okay? So now let's talk about what I'm doing to work out this week. I'm really, it's funny. Years ago, I used to drive my wife crazy because whenever we went on vacation, this is when I was in I've been married for like 26, 27 years. Whenever I go on vacation, I said, I don't want to miss my workouts. This is how I used to be in my 30s, even my early 40s. So every vacation, we'd have to find like a great gym. Like there has to be a Gold's Gym nearby, or the hotel had a great gym. I remember going to Italy, and I found the Gold's Gym in Venice, which I'm working out in Venice in a gym instead of enjoying the country, right? I remember going to Australia on a surf trip. Besides surfing, I had like lift weights. As soon as I get there, I say, "Where's the gym?" I have to say it is kind of interesting to do it to some degree because you really get to learn the culture of the environment which you're in when you go to a different country by going to a gym. I always tell people, if you want to move to like a different city, to a neighborhood, go to a gym, go to a local gym, and you'll get a really good feel. So that's interesting. I kind of missed that a little bit, but it's just ridiculous. I'm in the Hamptons now. The weather's beautiful. Why should I go inside and work out in the gym? Plus, I want to give my joints a little bit of a break. I'm turning 59. I changed my whole workout strategy about 15 years ago. When I was in my 40s, I really trained to create the response. I don't overtrain anymore. I overtrained for 20 years. So I really besides taking a diet break, I really look forward to taking a break from lifting weights. So all I'm doing on this trip is I'm walking 90 minutes in a fasted state every morning. I love it. It's kind of like meditating. I do have to do something just mentally to feel good. So as soon as we get to the beach, I generally drop the family off at the beach, and then I take a walk. I walk 45 minutes one way. I walk 45 minutes back. And that's all the exercise I'm doing. Plus, I'm in the ocean. I'm swimming. I love riding the waves. And that's what I'm going to do workout for the week. And it's good to take a break. Similar to taking diet breaks and upping your calories, I do think at least once a quarter. If you're working out regularly, you're doing resistance training 2-3 times a week, like I recommend you do. I think once a quarter, take a week off. The famous guy Steve Reeves was one of my original famous bodybuilders. He was Hercules, did Hercules movies. He would take off 3 months a year, no weight training. It's incredible. When you're a natural weightlifter, you really do need diet breaks. Let's see, we get some questions here. Okay. Around how many grams of carbs do you have a day? Okay, so what I'm doing when I'm in my typical normal life at home and I'm eating a relatively low carb, I stay between 50 to 100 grams of carbs a day. Sometimes I go net, sometimes I don't go net. I stay under 400 calories of carbs a day. That's my general rule. And I probably dip mildly in and out of ketosis because I do these fast, and if you're following me, I change my intermittent fasting strategy constantly to cycle my calories. I may do an 18-hour fast one day, then I may do like an OMAD day the next day where I'll be restricting calories. Then I may take a day off, right? Up my calories to maintenance. I may do an 18-6, 16-8. So I vary all the time, but I like to keep my carbs. I don't do a ketogenic type diet, but I eat a relatively low carb diet. Because I want potassium, I want magnesium. I may dip into ketosis like I did last week for a week, and then I pop right out of it. But I think 50 to 100 grams is good. My general rule is if you're 150 pounds or less and you want to eat low carb, keep your, I would say eat about 50 net grams of carbs a day. If you're 150 pounds or over, I think you can go 100 net grams of carbs a day, around 400 calories, which is great. Which is more important, cardio resistance training for health? I think, well, a combination is the best, but I think resistance training to maintain your muscle mass, and if you can just do a little bit of cardio, you can get a lot done. You do two HIIT workouts a week, 10, 15, 15 minutes, do 5 or 6 hard 30-second intervals, increase your VO2 max, get a great aerobic workout, and then your resistance training is critical, essential when you get older. Maintain your muscle mass, increase your metabolism, keeps you young. I would lean more towards resistance training, a little bit of high-intensity cardio, and then walking is probably the healthiest thing you can do. Just take long walks whenever you can. Easy long walks. I love them. When do you recommend training if you're doing heavy work through the week and on a low carb? How much fat a day? Not keto. I see when it comes, interesting, like if you're doing physical work, Paul, you're probably getting a good workout right there, but resistance training, a couple days of resistance training is always good, and then some long work. If you're doing physical work during the day, you don't necessarily have to even do your cardio. You're probably just getting it like that. You see how much fat. This is how I look at fat. Most of my calories do come from fat, and that's what I recommend. But I don't chase fat, meaning that I'm not going to put fat in my coffee like the Bulletproof coffee. I'm not going to like douse my food with mayonnaise. I'm not going to put butter on a steak. I think your fat should come from the whole natural food you're eating. So if you're eating, for example, you're eating just like salmon and sardines, which I love. You're eating whole eggs. You're eating an avocado every day, right? Maybe you're sauteing your vegetables with some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, or maybe a little coconut oil for the MCTs. And if you're eating whole natural foods, and then you use like I love MyFitnessPal or like another app like Chronometer, and if you're doing that, all your calories. All your macros are automatically going to fall into line. You're going to see that 50-60% of your calories are coming from fat. I like to get 30% of my calories coming from protein, maybe 10-15% coming from carbs. Guys, you know what I'm looking at? I'm going to have to make a move here. I'm going to move this whole setup. I hope we don't mess up. It's so funny. I'm not used to doing this, in not my normal spot. I'm running low on battery life, so I'm going to move this. Let's see. I'm going to plug this baby in inside here. Let me just give me 1 second. I'm going to be back in 1 second. I have to plug this in or else I'm going to lose my signal. So I got my charger here. All right, guys, sorry about that. I think I'm back. If you notice, my hotel room is very messy. So try to ignore the messiness of the hotel room. Yeah, I'm not used to doing this this whole setup. I also did this on Instagram this morning. I said I'm going to do a little more Instagram posts, okay? Apple cranberry juice. I think that's actually a apple cranberry. I think that might be like a seltzer, But I'm in here, I'm in here with me, my wife, and my 2 kids. We're all crammed into one hotel room. That's what we got. Any other? Would you weekly 36-hour fast good for health? Also taking a probiotic, fiber supplement? No, I think a 36-hour fast per week. I love that strategy. I absolutely love it. I think probably one of my most popular videos. I got about 50,000 views on. Is a 24-hour fast once per week. I love it. See, it's interesting. There are a lot of benefits to extending your fast beyond just an 18-20 hour, like autophagy, cell cleansing. A lot of people feel that when you're deeper into a fast, you upregulate autophagy a little bit more. So a 36-hour fast, you're going to get more autophagy. You're probably going to also get into a state of ketosis after 36 hours. You're really going to deplete those glycogen levels. So, people feel, and I do agree, it's good to be into a state of ketosis, from time to time. Plus, there's also those counter-regulatory hormones get upregulated more when you're 24 hours or deeper into a fast. And what I mean by those counter-regulatory hormones are like human growth hormone, cortisol, like the stress hormones, and that also gives you a nice boost in your metabolism. That's why, in my opinion, calorie restriction compared to maybe doing a 24-hour fast, a 36-hour fast can minimize the slowdown in your metabolism to some degree. So there are some benefits in it, but some people overdo it. You can't overdo it. I think once a week a 36-hour fast or once a week a 24-hour fast is a great thing to do. I personally I may do that only like once a month because I'm pretty lean, So, I'm more comfortable doing like an 18-6 on a regular basis, things like that. Let's see what we got, Paul. Thanks, Mike. I'm out with the dogs 3 days a week. Enough cardio there. Obviously, after work, I don't feel like training. I understand. If you're walking like that, Paul, and then you just try to do a little bit of resistance training a couple of days a week, and you're doing this this low carb, whole natural food diet with a little bit of intermittent fasting, I think you're good to go. I think it's ideal. And truthfully, I mean, this is like, physical work is like what we're supposed to be doing, right? Like ancestrally. You're out there, I think it's a great life. I love physical work. I love gardening. I love doing stuff outside and just being active. Truthfully, if I had to pick between an active lifestyle or going to the gym a couple of days a week, I go active lifestyle every single time. Eating healthy, staying active, and walking. I think for longevity, I don't think there's anything you can do that's better than that, for sure. Okay, so let me see if I lost my place here. So we were talking about, okay, let me also talk about, yeah, we talked about how I'm doing I'm pretty much doing 18-6. I'm kind of eating what I want. I'm walking fasted in the morning. I'm also taking great, Paul, great. I'm also taking a break from resistance training, right? Just walking. Let's talk about I'm also taking a mental break. If I have to say, I own this gym, right? I got this gym in Mount Kisco, personal training gym. It was really hit hard during the pandemic, but it's coming back now. It's getting a little busier again. So I'm running a gym, and I feel like I'm running a media company. When you think about I got 450 videos on YouTube. I do 2 long-form videos on YouTube every week. I'm doing these 1-hour live streams. Lately, I've been really active at Instagram, too. I also post on Pinterest and LinkedIn and Facebook. I feel like I'm running a little mini media company. So I also want to take a mental break, which everyone, I guess, does when they go on vacation. And even though I wanted to do at least one live stream because I want to just keep everyone up to date on what's going on with me, I also took a break from just constantly looking at my phone. And it's interesting how I started this trip is I actually dropped my phone day 1 in the parking lot, and my screen shattered. Even though it cost a lot of money, I know it's like $400 to get it fixed. I just picked up my phone today. There's an Apple shop out here. They had my phone for 3 days. It was such a mental relief not looking at my phone all the time. Like typically when I post a video, I want to see, there's all these different analytics on YouTube, which actually tells me like how long people watch the video. When do they stop watching the video? When do they like the video? There's so many analytics. I'm trying to figure out what people like. That's why I really appreciate when everyone leaves comments and tells me the type of content you want me to do. Like, what do you want me to focus on? Do you want me to focus more on intermittent fasting, resistance training, putting them on muscle, weight loss? Always let me know what everyone wants for the videos, and I'll put those videos out. As long as obviously if it's in the health, fitness, and weight loss niche, which is what I'm trying to do here. And it felt really good. I have to say, not having my phone for 3 days, I realized how much wasted time I spend looking at analyticals. Like typically in the past, like if I was taking a 2-hour walk, I'd stop halfway through my walk, look at my phone. Did anyone leave a comment? How did my last video do? I'm going to stop doing that. I think it was even stifling my creativity. Just not having my phone in my hand for 3 days. I have all these great ideas for videos that I want to make when I get back. I even mapped out what I wanted to kind of say during this live stream. So that's another big change we're going to make. I don't know how everyone else feels about that when they're out there. They just feel like They just can't let go of their phone. But it was a good mental break for me as well. I think we got another question from Gene here. What's your opinion on bulletproof coffee? I heard, 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. It might kill hunger a little bit. I'm not a big fan of bulletproof coffee. I did read a number of Dave Asprari's books. I read the first book he did. I forget the other. I read like 2 of his books, and he's a super smart guy. I'm sure he can out-debate me on all these issues on a cellular level. What's going on? I look at bulletproof coffee. First, I like to fast in the morning. Plus, it is going to break your fast. It's different if you're in a ketogenic diet and you're just taking it straight MCT oil. He has his own, I think he calls it octane fuel, which is really like a combination of, I think it's a proprietary blend of different type of MCT type oils. And yes, it can increase your state of ketosis and all that, but to me, it's to some degree breaking the fast, and it's just increasing calories. And I want my fat from the whole natural foods that I'm eating. So I'm not a big fan of bulletproof, but it could curb your appetite, right? If you're not necessarily concerned about calories, and you find that putting a little bit of fat in your coffee will stop you from eating like something horrible, like eating a bowl of cereal or having a donut or something, having something unhealthy, you might want to go in that direction, which is possible. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I hope I didn't mess everyone up when I switched everything inside. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, how many people? We got 5 in the room. Let's see. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much my whole routine. I'm really looking forward to this week. It's already halfway through the trip. I'm also looking forward to getting back too. It's so funny how vacations go. You can't wait to get here and then say, hey, I don't mind. I like my typical lifestyle at home. I'm gonna look forward to getting back to the gym, getting back to eating really healthy. It's interesting. Another thing that I found, which sometimes I forget because I've been eating good for so long. Let's see. Volta Longa promotes 3. Yeah, no, I love the fasting mimicking diet, Gene. I totally do. I love the. I always want to do it. I've talked about that before. I had a number of my clients do the Pro line, order the food. I think it's like $250 for the week. If people are not familiar with the fasting, Volta Longo's book, The Longevity Diet, I think it's a great book. I really do like it. And he has this approach where you eat like a very low calorie type diet plan for 5 to 7. I think it's 5 days, 5 or 6 days. You eat about 500 to 700 calories a day. Generally low protein, plant-based type meals, and you get the same effect of being in a water fast for 5 days, which is really interesting. Like I talked about oligotophagy, maybe a mild state of ketosis, things like that, from the fasting mimicking diet. He recommends people do it for like maybe once a quarter. Good for autoimmune disease, good for even like pre. Unfortunately, people have cancer. Like he did a lot of research on people to go through chemo. That if you go through chemo and you fast ahead of time, it can potentially help. It's kind of interesting. I think we also had another technical glitch. Is everything coming through okay, guys, out there? I just had another technical glitch here. Since I'm doing this from the hotel, let me shut that off. No, I guess everyone's here. Okay, so just review quickly. Sure, thanks. Just quickly what I'm doing this week on vacation, just to make it really clear. So I wake up in the morning, have a couple of cups of coffee. I do a 90-minute walk in a fasted state after drinking a lot of water, and then I'm pretty much eating whatever I want from 12 o'clock to maybe 8 in the evening. I have having some cocktails, things like that. I'm eating all my favorite food. Although this is the point that I forgot. It's interesting how a couple of things are coming back that I typically got rid of when I changed my diet and made my diet so much healthier. Actually, I'm starting to. I used to maybe 15, 20 years ago. I used to get like heartburn and things like that. That's coming back slightly, which is really interesting because I'm eating a lot of bread, a lot of grains. I'm sure maybe I have a gluten issue or some lectins. I love all the Dr. Stephen Gungey's books too about lectins in your diet from different grains. I forgot about that, so it's really interesting. That's coming back a little bit on this trip. Maybe the beer too is causing a little bit of heartburn, which I haven't had in so long. Like I talked about before, typically when I take a diet break, if I'm doing it at home, I just eat more of the whole great natural foods I'm eating. Maybe I'll add like a baked potato or a sweet potato, or maybe I'll just have one more meal. But I won't do what I'm doing on this trip. Like I won't go out and have pizza. I won't go out and have like a chicken parm. Or generally won't have pasta, or I generally won't eat like pretzels. Which I'm doing that on this break, which is really kind of interesting to me, that I'm starting to get that like a slight bit of heartburn. But I'm only going to be doing this now for West Wednesday. It's a Thursday and Friday. I only have 2 more days today and then 2 more days. Then I'm going to go right back to my perfect eating, and I'll document that next week. Okay. So I appreciate everyone tuning in for this live stream. I know it was kind of like off the cuff on vacation. Doesn't have the great production quality or the sound that I typically have. But I appreciate you joining in. And also, keep that in mind. Any particular videos you want me to make on fitness, health, nutrition, weight loss, let me know in the comments, and I'll do that. I'm going to do 2 videos a week and 1 live stream every single week. And also, if you want to see, I'm going to be posting, now that I have my phone back, if you want to check out my Instagram, my 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Fitness Instagram, I'm going to start posting a lot of pictures of me and the family on the beach, and I'm going to show you actual pictures now of these somewhat unhealthy meals that I'm eating, because people always complain to me and say, Mike, you never eat bad. You're always eating so perfect. Oh, thanks, Brett. Have fun. I appreciate it. You always eat so perfect. Show sometimes when you're not eating a perfect meal. So I'm going to start taking pictures of those meals, and I'll post them now that I have my phone back. Okay, guys. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Brett, I'm glad you're back and your health is good again. That's great. I'm really happy about that. I hope everyone's doing really well. Any other questions before I go? I know there's like a minute or two delay. Anything, fitness, health, nutrition, weight loss, workout, and anything you want to know about? Okay, everyone. Well, I appreciate everyone who showed up. Take care and really have a wonderful day. Okay? So long.